Coming to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor, this is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
Tonight, lights, camera, action. Windsor is excited about WIF. I am Melissa Muni, and you're watching MediaPlex News Now. The Windsor International Film Festival kicked off earlier today and has already been drawing quite the crowd. Jordan Kashera brings you the latest.
The Windsor International Film Festival is back at the Capitol Theatre, and with it is over 90 films from across the world. The many films featured include multiple genres and even some that won't be released in Canada. But according to Executive Director Vincent Georgi, it's more than just films.
We've got comedies, we've got dramas, we've got documentaries, we've got horror films, we've got action films, we've got Midnight Madness films, we've got historical dramas, we've got everything.
Along with the films, it's also helping Windsor.
Number one is quality of life for everybody that lives here and everyone that visits here, tourism-wise for sure, but also our locals as well. Supports our local filmmaking community, showcasing their films here at the festival, which I think is great. That's a key thing. Obviously helps the Capitol Theatre and bring programming to the Capitol Theatre. Helps downtown businesses, all our downtown partners here as well. It's just, what's great about WIF is that there's no downside to it. It benefits everybody.
The film festival is growing in popularity and the box office is proving it. With much of the shows already sold out, movie buffs like Danita DeRose are finding it hard to get a hold of tickets.
Actually, this is my third year attending the film festival, and as you can see, it's growing and growing, so tickets are becoming unavailable.
The film festival is going on from today through November 8th, and tickets can be purchased at the Capitol Theatre box office or online. For MediaPlex News, I'm Jordan Kashera.
Speaking of WIF, we've got a special guest from the festival here for a live interview. Let's watch.
I'm Rhiannon Lotz, and I'm here with Catherine Bordelin, Sponsorship Coordinator for WIF. So Catherine, what can we expect from WIF this year, and is it what you expected?
You can expect some fantastic things from WIF this year. This is my first year with the festival, so my expectations, I didn't really know what to expect, but blown away. It's fantastic. We have some fantastic films, we have awesome volunteers, and we have a ton of surprises for people. They're really going to enjoy it.
Now, I know there are some local films in the festival this year. How many are there?
Well, we have tonight actually playing our WIF local shorts and our 48-hour Flick Fest. But beyond that, there's a lot of local films or films that have local connections, which are really awesome to have because it really highlights all the different talents that are in the city.
And how do these films stack up against the other ones at the festival?
I know some people hear local films and they think that maybe they don't stack up, but they really honestly do. We have so much talent and so much potential, and it's really nice to see it highlighted at the festival.
Okay. And how much bigger would you like to see WIF become?
I mean, as big as it can grow to. We're so happy to provide the community with something so fantastic, and so if it keeps growing, that's awesome.
All right, thank you for being here. I'm Rhiannon Lotz, and for MediaPlex News Now, back to you, Melissa.
The City of Windsor is looking for suggestions on improving downtown. Sean Prevel tells us more.
It's a chance to change the Rose City. The City of Windsor's planning department is asking for the public's help in coming up with ideas to reshape the downtown. Last week, city planners brought the study to the Windsor Aquatic Center to give the public a chance to discuss their ideas in person. Laura Diot says with recent downtown developments, it's the perfect time to conduct the survey.
It's a great time to feed off that energy and look at the whole downtown together.
The open house was also a chance for the public to tell the city how they use the downtown and what it could become. Resident Dan Brown says he's pleased by how the city is connecting with residents.
It's a lot more interactive than just an online survey. It's great that the staff is actually here and they can hear us and see us and get a sense more than just ticking off things on a questionnaire.
It was also important for people working in the city. Brandon Markham, who is training to be an architect, says he wants to make Windsor a good place to work.
Well, if I'm going to try to build a successful career in Windsor, I should do my part to try to help make it better.
According to Shane Mitchell of Gloss Associates, improving downtown is also important in order to bring more business to Windsor.
There's a very real financial incentive that we need to offer, or else the development just won't come. Because we don't have the high demand that other cities have, we really need to give an incentive for people to develop here.
Diot says when the survey is complete, they will bring the ideas to council and make recommendations on how to improve downtown and make it a better place to visit, work, and live. For MediaPlex News, I'm Sean Prevel.
Windsorites may have noticed the warm weather and sunshine, which is so uncharacteristic for November. Our weather specialist, Mark Brown, is at the corner of University and Victoria to let you know what the weather is like right now. Mark?
Well, we did a little bit of checking, and we found out that we're going to have some really mild weather going on this week. Right now, down here at the corner of University Avenue and Victoria, we have 17 degrees with a low tonight around 8. And I'll be back a little later with your 3-day forecast. Melissa?
Are you an Earth Ranger? Chances are you aren't, but a local 10-year-old is. Shelby Hernandez is going to tell you all about him.
Would you like to donate money to the little brown bat?
10-year-old River Michalchuk is an ordinary boy by many standards, but he also works as an Earth Ranger. Earth Rangers is a charitable organization that allows kids to learn about environmental and wildlife protection. To get involved, kids sign up online and can participate in 2 ways: through taking on environmental protection missions and through the Bring Back the Wild campaign. His current Bring Back the Wild campaign is to save the little brown bats, in which he has already raised over $200 for them. Michalchuk says when it comes to what's most important for him, animals are definitely at the top of his list.
There's a lot of animals out there that may need our help. We've took their habitat, so I think they need a little bit of room for themselves.
According to Earth Rangers Public Relations Officer Amy Cross, there are over 100,000 Earth Ranger members across Canada, with about 40,000 in Ontario and about 550 in Windsor and Essex County. Cross says Earth Rangers is great for kids because it does much more than just educate them.
It also offers them ways to take action, not just through fundraising, but through other actions as well.
For kids who want to be involved, Michalchuk has only one thing to say to them.
Just because we destroyed the animals' houses doesn't mean it's too late to fix it.
For MediaPlex News, I'm Shelby Hernandez.
Only a few short weeks after Councillor Bill Mara asked Council to draw up a report on the cost of hiring a municipal Auditor General. They have voted, and Sean Prevel joins us live in the studio to tell us what happened. Sean?
Melissa, it was a marathon night for Council last Thursday as the topic of hiring the Auditor General took center stage. In addition to being a campaign promise for several councillors during last year's election, many residents have called for its reinstatement. But even with this support, Council's decision was a no.
The motion was brought forward by Councillor Bill Mara, who wanted to create more transparency and trust with the public. The Office of the Auditor General is not new to Windsor, and there have been continuous calls for its reinstatement since the previous one was fired in 2012. Councillor Eric Kuzmaricek campaigned for reinstatement of the position during his run for council in 2014. He says having an Auditor General would have been a benefit to the city.
I think an independent Auditor General helps us to maximize transparency, maximize accountability, and bring efficiency.
During the meeting, Councillor Paul Borelli made 2 motions. The first to extend the contract with PricewaterhouseCoopers, the city's current auditor, from 2 to 4 years. But it was the second which changed the tone of the meeting.
The motion asked for the city to lobby for a provincial Auditor General who would provide services to the city free of charge. However, it was argued by other councillors Windsor would not be the only municipality the auditor would have to help. Even with arguments from councillors and comments from the public, Borelli's motion was passed, and as a result, Mara's was defeated without a vote for his own motion. Mara says he was disappointed by the vote, but the decision has now been made.
It was a good discussion, and I think ultimately the community will decide on their representative and whether or not they reflected their views.
However, Kuzmaricek says the fight is not over.
Oh, again, we may have lost the battle, but again, we want to continue this fight to bring an independent Auditor General to the City of Windsor.
Now, while the proposal has been sent off to the province to consider, it's likely this won't be the end of the discussion at the municipal level. Melissa?
Thanks, Sean. And now let's watch an episode of 3 Minutes with Ron Dunn, hosted by reporter David Dyke.
Hello, I'm David Dyke, and you're watching 3 Minutes with Ron Dunn, who is the Executive Director of Windsor's Downtown Mission. Now, Ron, with Windsor's unemployment rate having climbed recently to 9.6%, I imagine that would have contributed to homelessness in Windsor as well. What kind of an increase in demands have you seen at the Downtown Mission?
Well, we don't know if there's a direct link between the unemployment rate and homelessness, but we do know there's more people living in poverty. Many of them are the working poor, and obviously the unemployment rate affects how they live as well. So all of our programs are really swelling to capacity at this moment.
Okay. I imagine there'd also be a need for an increase in food supplies as well. What kind of previous food supplies have you had coming in and some of your donators, and what do you hope to increase as well yet?
Well, Windsor Essex has always treated us very well, but you are right. Because we're helping that many more people, the demand for food is higher. So we're still getting the same amount of food in, but we're seeing more people come through our programs. So we are at an all-time low at this moment.
Okay, yeah. Who are some of your suppliers by this point?
Well, all of our suppliers are the folks of Windsor Essex. So most of our, if not all of our gifts come in from regular people. They go out and do their shopping and they grab a couple extra cans of something. There's some businesses that help us out, you know, through drives at school and church groups and anybody. You know, say the MediaPlex, for example, could do a nice drive for us.
Okay. Ron, I imagine I heard that there would be a 24-hour service now being provided at the downtown mission. Does that mean there needs to be now an increase in volunteers regularly at the mission as well?
Yeah, we actually started October 1st as a 24-hour service provider. What that means is now nobody has to leave, and we have programs running 24 hours a day. And from a volunteer perspective, that means we've asked the public to step forward even more and give us more of their time. So the 6 o'clock soup program, for example, requires anywhere between 4 to 6 new individuals that we didn't have before. So we're working that out right now.
Okay. I imagine also that I heard now that visitors were also allowed to come and stay for the whole day, whereas previously they would only be able to stay for the morning. Does that mean there's going to be more group activities during the day as well? Or?
Yeah, we're actually exploring programs right now. Actually, all of our programs are kind of being reviewed and looking for what's the best way to operate them and how to expand them as well. So that's in process right now with my management team.
What kind of group activities have you been holding up to this point already?
Well, we do a lot of art. November 25th, for example, we have an art show, which is at the mission, and it's folks who are using our programs and have gone through an art program trying to sell some of their own artwork. So it's pretty exciting and it's new, and you know, we're also looking at things like counseling, addiction counseling, Bible studies, those types of things as well.
All right, Ron, I think that's actually all the time we actually have for today. You've been watching 3 Minutes with Ron Dunn, who is the Executive Director for Windsor's Downtown Mission. I'm David Dyke, reporting for MediaPlex News Now.
Elena Wills went to get swabbed, a local event that was held earlier today. She's going to tell us all about it.
Students at St. Clair College had the opportunity to get swabbed and save a life when the Caitlin Bedard Bone Marrow Association visited both downtown campuses on Tuesday. Joanne Bedard founded the Windsor-based organization after losing her 3-year-old daughter to leukemia.
They will then contact you and say you've come up as a match, and at that point you would have to go and go through the screening process and then possibly become a donor.
The process is a simple, quick, and painless cheek swab.
Some medical questions and some general information, and then it's a simple cheek swab. You just like a Q-tip.
With 70% of transplant patients relying on registered donors, every little bit counts. For MediaPlex News, I'm Alana Wills.
The Windsor-Essex County Cancer Foundation recently held their annual educational event to inform the public on new developments with cancer research. Taylor Bush attended the event to bring us the story.
Each year, the Windsor-Essex County Cancer Foundation hosts a free event to inform and educate the public on progress of local research projects. Since 2009, close to $1.7 million in grants have been handed out to local research teams through the Foundation's Seeds for Hope program. Eleanor Matica Tyndale is a distinguished university professor and grant recipient through the program. She said her team used the grant money to study the long-term physical and emotional effects many women face following the treatment of gynecological cancers.
What we found was the experience of going through the treatment was made far less painful if the physician used conscious sedation as part of the treatment process, and that now has become the standard of care.
Tyndale also said her study found several patients were able to recover better after taking part in an online therapy program, a program which is now available to most cancer patients across the country.
We're very proud of those results. You don't often see practical results coming out of a project right away. And this one did have 2 very important practical results.
Lisa Porter, another university professor who received additional grants Wednesday morning, said her research is primarily focused on finding cures for patients who do not respond to typical cancer treatments.
The clinical trial that Dr. Carolyn Ham and I were able to offer through the Seeds for Hope funding was enabling patients to get a new type of drug that would add to current chemotherapy regimens.
Administrators for the Seeds for Hope program said it is an exciting time for cancer research in Windsor and hope to host more community outreach events in the future. For MediaPlex News Now, I'm Taylor Bush.
Now let's go back out to Mark Brown at the corner of University in Victoria so he can tell us if we should expect this beautiful weather to continue.
Thanks, Melissa. Did you know that Yuma in the state of Arizona has over 4,000 hours of sunshine per year? That makes it the sunniest place on the face of the planet. And it's been pretty sunny here in Windsor, Essex, and it is still early November. Let's take a look at what we have going on this week. Tomorrow we have more sunshine with a high of 22 and a low of 14. For Thursday, a look for some rain with a high of 21 and a low of 16. And finally on Friday, there is a risk of a thunderstorm with a high of 19 and a low of 7. And that's it for me on this beautiful night here in downtown Windsor on the corner of University West of Victoria. I'm Mark Brown. Back to you, Melissa.
Tattoos have become very popular in recent years, but it may be hard to find the right artist for you. Miller Hill gives us some tips on how to make the search easier.
The presence of tattoos are becoming more apparent within pop culture. For local photographer Ryan Bro, his first tattoo was one of the worst experiences that he's had.
I thought it was a funny idea if my buddy gave me a tattoo. So my buddy gave me a tattoo and it was completely ridiculous. And luckily, I got it fixed up a couple years later because I was pretty much embarrassed to wear a tank top.
Bro's bad experience could have been avoided, but the experience led to an important part of the tattoo process, finding a reputable tattoo artist. Dean Sleeman, a tattoo artist at Radiant Maiden in Windsor, says a good start is to do some research and perhaps view the artist's portfolio.
I'd say one of the biggest things is no portfolio. That's probably the hugest thing. If you go in, and there's no portfolio, it's like, what am I looking at? I want to get a tattoo. I don't know what I'm going to get if I can't see your portfolio. Exactly. That's a huge thing. It'd rather be online or even in shop.
Aside from researching and reviewing work, another question to ask is if the artist is versatile. Can he or she tattoo a variety of styles?
One of the big things is consistency, very versatile. That's not only in design but in attitude. You got to know when to say no, when to say yes. Rather be a client that has a bad attitude or a client with a design that you're not comfortable with.
Dean says cleanliness is a factor that separates the inexperienced from experienced. He believes working out of homes is an unprofessional practice. While a free tattoo may sound like a great idea, remember, you will be reminded of it for the rest of your life. For MediaPlex News Now, I'm Miller Hill.
Robin Hood is the ancient hero who stole from the rich to give to the poor. Reporter Ashley Ann Mentley stole some time from the stars of the upcoming production, The Somewhat True Tale of Robin Hood, to give you this interview.
Hi, I'm Ashley Ann Mentley, and today I'm joined by Ryan Fields and Alicia Harrett, stars of The Somewhat True Tale of Robin Hood. Thanks, guys. So this is The Somewhat True Tale. Can you tell me what that means?
Yeah, so it's a spin of the classic tale Robin Hood. It's got a bit of a Monty Python-esque vibe. We've got a towns guy who's a wannabe merryman, a Robin Hood who's very egotistical, a Lady Marian who is obsessed with skin conditions, and it's just a really funny play for the whole family, honestly.
Great, and you're starring as Robin Hood, correct?
Yes, I am Robin Hood.
And Alicia, what's your role?
I play Robin Hood's love, the Lady Marian.
Oh, okay. Now, what is this play in support of?
So this play is in support of the Windsor Life Center, which is a nonprofit 12-month recovery program for women struggling with drug and alcohol addiction.
Okay, and I understand that you have a great deal of involvement in the program. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I was actually a resident in the program, so I put myself through the program around 2.5 years ago, and I'm a graduate now, and so now I just work in the fundraising aspect of things in support of the home, and it's an amazing program.
Oh, great, good for you. So Ryan, can you tell us how much time, how many people go into a production like this?
Yeah, for sure. We've been working on this for 6 months, and then a few months we've been talking about it. We've got at least about 50 people working in the production. We got 18 cast, we got directors, a lighting crew, sound people, costumes. It's a big production, and it's for an amazing cause that we're just really hoping to bring awareness to, really.
Now, is this your first acting role, or do you have a deal of experience with acting?
No, I've been acting for a few years now. I was just in a film in the Windsor Film Festival, and we won a couple awards, and I'm going to be in a upcoming Warner Brothers superhero movie.
Oh, good for you. So when can we see this? Where will it be held?
Yes, this will be held at the Windsor Christian Fellowship Youth Center. It's going to be held on the 13th, the 14th, the 20th, the 21st at 7 o'clock, and a Sunday show at 3 o'clock on the 22nd.
Great. And where can people buy tickets?
You can buy tickets at windsorlifecenter.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today, guys. Sounds like it's going to be a great show. And for MediaPlex News Now, I'm Ashley Ann Mentley.
Devonshire Mall will be the location of the annual holiday bazaar hosted for the local not-for-profit organization Life After 50. Michael Hugel reports.
The not-for-profit group Life After 50 is hosting its annual holiday bazaar at Devonshire Mall. The bazaar's focus is on raising money for various charities throughout Windsor, Essex, which focus on a healthy lifestyle for senior citizens. By knitting winter wear and making knickknacks, the group hopes to make a change this close to the holidays. Josie Cogeco has been a volunteer at Life After 50 for over 10 years and says she feels very rewarded.
It motivates me, I know. It gives me, to get up and do something, for the community and just to help out.
Life After 50 has been around for over 50 years and looks to continue its progress with providing senior citizens with great resources. Kristen LeBute and Brooklyn Hubert are volunteers for the initiative.
For us, it was important that we help supported them and be here today and help them raise money for the center.
For MediaPlex News, I'm Michael Hugel.
November 11th is just around the corner, and reporter Julia Pullman tells you everything you need to know about this day of remembrance.
Remembrance Day marks when armies stopped fighting World War I on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. During this time, all government buildings fly the Canadian flag, and we remember those who fought for us during a 2-minute silence at 11 a.m. Many wear poppies as a sign of support and respect for all of our troops. They are either free or traded for a donation. The red poppy represents the memory of those who have died, and the white poppy represents campaigns for non-military involvement. There are different ways to remember our troops. Some churches hold special services, and there are local Remembrance Day ceremonies you can attend. But however you choose to remember Canadian troops, be sure to pass it along. We need to pass on the appreciation to keep the legacy alive. This has been Julia Pullman with your Remembrance Minute.
Speaking of Remembrance Day, reporter John Hutton sat down with veteran Jeff Gravelle in this edition of 3 Minutes With.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Hutton, and this is 3 Minutes With Jeff Gravelle. Jeff Gravelle is a Windsor combat veteran who served in Bosnia and Afghanistan. Thank you very much for joining us, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
So, being in the month of November, what does Remembrance Day mean to you since it's approaching?
Remembrance Day for me happens every day, as it would for most veterans, especially those that lost people that they worked with. However, what Remembrance Day means to me and how I explained it to my son and other children is it's not about war or peace, it's about honoring the sacrifice that some people are willing to give all for a cause far bigger than themselves. And it's just taking a moment on that day to honor that sacrifice, because that sacrifice was made on every Canadian's behalf, and it was an anonymous donation, one that they don't meet the donor, and it's our way to honor them.
And I understand you're part of a Legion Branch 143. Could you explain what that's like?
Yeah, I guess when I first got home, and I, like some soldiers, I had difficulty transitioning. I had a hard time finding my bearings. So I reached out to the one group in one area where I knew I would find people of like-minded people. And I went to the Legion. The Legion was a place where I got involved with a social group that was helping each other through transitioning and through post-traumatic stress and other operational stress injuries. And we were meeting at the Legion. So several members from that group actually got actively involved with the Legion by joining a committee and trying to changed the face of the service clubs that have started to die off across Canada. The veterans that built the Legions are now dying off. I mean, that's it's an honest reality that we have to face. But we have so many other veterans out there that have yet to be reached, that they need to know that these doors are open for them when they want to come in and need shelter, need a place to be safe.
And how do you feel Windsorites treat their veterans?
There's always been a warm reception at Remembrance Day. There's always been a good turnout. I think Windsor is no different than any other community across Canada. We appreciate that we have soldiers. We appreciate that we have hard people standing the walls defending our freedoms. But we're more concerned with our day-to-day. So unless you're married to a soldier, your son or your daughter is served, then most people, it's an abstract concept for them, except for that one day a year. So I think Windsorites are generally receptive. However, I don't think they understand what the face of a veteran looks like now.
And what is it like coming back from the war in Afghanistan, coming back to Windsor?
There's a few adjustments. It's two different worlds in some respects. However, it's the same world. Driving habits had to change. Where I walked, what I thought was safe, different concepts. Pattern recognition had to change. Things that were patterns that I would see overseas that would represent an unsafe situation and we would react to in such a manner don't really play out here. We see the same situations here, however, the reaction that we would use overseas doesn't play out comfortably here. It stands out. It makes it uncomfortable, so until those instincts tend to unwind, it's a bit uncomfortable at first, transitioning back home. And we have a fast transition following conflicts now. We're home in the matter of an international flight, whereas following World War II, the men and women coming home had 2 months to mull it over on a boat, to talk it over with their peers, to adjust before they got home to their couches and their babies and their families. We're home very quickly, and it's not enough time to physiologically adjust, let alone psychologically adjust to the two extremes that you're having to live.
Well, thanks very much for joining us, Jeff. This has been 3 Minutes with Jeff Gravelle.
Thank you.
That wraps up our show for tonight. I'm Melissa Muni, and you've been watching MediaPlex News Now.
MediaPlex News Now is a production of the St. Clair College Journalism Program.
I think it's so important to be taught by industry professionals because they know what they're doing. And they're not just teaching because they read it in a book somewhere. They're teaching because they've lived it. I choose to take control of my future, and my path is St. Clair College. I choose to be here.
I learn by doing. I learn by reacting to a situation. St. Clair puts me directly into my industry. I'm dealing with real patients, real life situations. It's not just theory, it's not book work anymore.
I choose to take control of my future, and my path is St. Clair College. I choose to be here.